So welcome back. I want to introduce Dennis, WU6X. I think you all know Dennis. Let's give him a round of applause. Welcome. And Dennis, I'm still struggling with what you're going to talk about tonight, but it has to do with HF management. And you say, what is HF management? Well, Dennis is going to explain that. So thank you, Dennis.
Thank you. Let me ask you something. Well, first of all, this isn't a big slideshow presentation. This is going to be live on the web if the internet works well. So what I'm going to show you really is a web-based application or a web-based tool that you can use if you want to get on HF communications. So 10 meters through 160 meters. How many operate HF of any kind? FT8, FT4, Fair AC. You're going to love this thing. I use it almost every day. And if you're a contester, how many contesters? Contesters, you can really use it as a planning tool. So I'll show you a little bit about that too. How many remember Gilligan's Island? What was the name of the boat? That's right. All right. So, whether you're a contester and you want to do a lot of planning for operation or you're just a casual operator, you should consider this, and we'll talk a little bit about why. If I get my slide thing to work here. There we go. There's a lot of HF tools out there. Some of them are real-time. Some of them are proposed or look at propagation that's going to be. But most of them, you kind of have to guess how far you can get unless you transmit. So what this tool does is really help you improve your chances. So I'll give you some example. So let's say it's a contest. You want to plan for a contest. It's a 12-hour contest, by the way, like is coming up this Saturday from 10 in the morning until 10 at night. There's a North American QSO party, CW. So, if you don't have 10 hours or 12 hours, when was the best time to get on the air? What would be the best time to get on the air? Well, this tool will help you determine that, and I'll show you how. Or let's say it's late at night, it's after dinner, you don't want to watch any TV, you want to get on the radio for half an hour. What band do I use? And what's open right now? Well, you can get on there and you can tune around with your HF receiver and you can see, you can hear. But as you know, most of the time, everybody's listening and nobody's transmitting. So, I get on, I can't hear a thing, I can't see anybody on the SDR receivers, and I'll call CQ, and I guarantee 2 calls, I'll get somebody come back to me. Everybody's listening. So if you have the tool. Okay, so how can I do it? Well, there's what I call actual, where you can actually see how far you can get and what bands are open. Things like reverse beacon network. How many use reverse beacon network? And RBN is pretty cool. If you don't, it basically is it's CW. If you don't know CW, you can program a macro, CQ, 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 WU6X, W6X, tune to some frequency in the CW band, press that macro at 35 or 40 words a minute, go look at RBN, and you can see how far you're getting on whatever band that you're looking at. So that works. DX Summit's another one, real time. You can take a look and see where the DX is on DX Summit. And at the end of this slideshow, by the way, this is kind of a takeaway slideshow. You can, I'll put it up on Groups.io and has references at the end where you can look this stuff up. So DX Summit's another one. Whisper, low power frequency where you can send signals out and see how far you're getting. Those are all real time. But if you want to remove the guesswork of which band to try those real-time things on, there's something called VOACAP. VOACAP. It's a big, long name. It stands for Voice of America Coverage Analysis Program. VOACAP. And it's based on sunspot activity by a guy in Finland who maintains it. 30 days, one way or the other, and real time. So it's actually a pretty valuable tool. Now, what I'm going to do, in keeping with good teaching, is I'm going to show you or tell you what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do on the web. Okay. So basically, the screen kind of looks like this, and it allows you to put in coordinates based on your grid, what your grid is and where you want to get to. In fact, the one I have up here now is to La Paz, Mexico. I have a good friend in La Paz, Mexico, and we talk once a week. And if I want to see what band and what time is going to be best for us, I'll pull up VOAC. If you're a contester, you can print that same thing that you just saw. You can print it out as a table, and you can see UTC across the top, bands across the left-hand column, and I'll show you this real time. Okay, so without that, there's one more thing. I don't use this, and this is basically when you zoom out on this tool, you can actually predict. Some people do gray line transmission, which gray line enhances your ability to get to certain places. You can click these dots, and it will tell you exactly sunrise or sunset in where you are, so you can maybe make a contact that's enhanced by gray line. Okay, I threw this table in here. I can't remember how to go from UTC to PDT. This is the nice table because it has UTC in the left-hand column, all the different time zones, PST on the very right, which is where we are right now, and even has daylight savings time. So I put that in there so that if you go to the web, print this out or something later, you can have your own conversion chart. So with that, I'm going to go over to the web. And the easiest way to find this is just you can type in here VOA, and I'm going to start from scratch just like you would. Oh, I left off the A, didn't I? Okay, let's see if it comes up right. Okay, it did. Everybody see that? Yeah, it came out pretty good on here. So this is the screen that comes up, and I have some things saved in here. And by the way, you can use your mouse wheel to zoom in and out. So for example, I can zoom in and I can actually get down to street level, or if I want a specific city, I can actually get to a specific city. But the first thing you're going to want to do in here is, let me open up another tab here. Wow, it's working actually pretty good tonight. I use QRZ for the grid locators. So in this set transmit QTH, this is where you want to put your grid locator. And I am CM98LW, and it actually comes out pretty close to that. If I zoom in to street level here, yeah, where am I here? Well, there's Auburn Ravine. Yeah, it's not so close. So I'm going to move this up to where I am. I am right. You can just drag these things. I'm right there. I'm going to go back out. So I'm going to keep it kind of simple right now. So right now, I have it focused on New York. There we go. So the first thing you're going to want to do in here is up in the right-hand column, you're going to want to set what mode you're going to be operating. So notice you've got Whisper, FT8, FT4, CW sideband. I'm going to leave it set at CW right now. I think that's a pretty good idea, maybe not as conservative as sideband, but a pretty good idea of how far I'm going to get. The next thing you're going to want to do is set your power. And in here, you can see you can go all the way up to 20,000 watts. Wow. Yeah, they're really talking about broadcast maybe, but anyway, I've got it set for 200 right now. I'm going to leave it there. Antennas. Now, what I like to do, let's say for 40 meters, I like to select a dipole. But you can get in there if you have a hex beam or something, you might want to get down here and select a 2-element or 3-element Yagi. So again, I try to be conservative. I'll set at, for 40 meters, I'll set a dipole at 33 feet. And on the receiving end, I'll do the same thing, dipole at 33 feet. And the reason is if I select a Yagi, obviously I'm going to get much better propagation results with a Yagi than I am with a dipole. I'm trying to be conservative, okay? In other words, I don't want to have this program say I'm going to get someplace that I really can't without a Yagi antenna. So a piece of wire, I have a piece of wire up in a tree, 60 foot up a tree, 125 piece of wire, and I can talk all over the world with that thing with this tool. So now that we have the antenna set, The next thing, there's other things you can click on here. There's a bunch of settings in here for zones and different things that you might want to look at. I'm just going to leave all that stuff at the default. And I like to use the prop wheel, and I'll show you why. So the prop wheel, let me get up here, go full screen. The prop wheel around the outside is UTC time. So it starts at, this is 0000. What time is 0000? Look on my little cheat sheet. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, right? That's 0000. So going around the outside, by the way, how many people use this tool now? Okay, a few of you, good. Maybe I'll show you something new. Anyway, as you go around the outside, you see UTC, and you can see that it's color-coded so that as you go down from 10 meters at the top of the loop right here, you can go down. There's 12 meters, 15 meters, 17 meters, and watch the center of the circle. As I go down, it changes to tell you also what your percentage of likelihood of making that contact are. 30 meters is 99%. So 40 meters at 4 o'clock in the afternoon today was about 89% getting to the East Coast. 80 meters, not so good. So right now, let's see, we're sitting at, what time is it right now? About 8:51. If I look on my handy dandy cheat sheet here, 8:51, that's what, 1800. All right, so it's about 4 o'clock UTC, correct? So right now, if I wanted to try to make a 20-meter contact, what do you think my chances are? 0, according to the propagation and sunspot cycle. However, if I drop down to 40 meters, now I'm 99% going to, this is the East Coast. Okay, so I'm looking at East Coast. Now, if I want to try to go somewhere else, it's pretty easy to do, and I'm going to leave this wheel up here because you can show you how dynamic it is. So I'm going to go to Europe. Let's go to United Kingdom, for example. Watch what happens to that wheel on the left. Okay. So it's real time in terms of propagation. There's also a pull down menu up here, and it has all the different countries and zones that you can select without actually knowing the grid square. So, for example, let's go find something like, well, how about New Zealand? Let's go down to the Z's. North Korea, let's try that. What's the prefix? What? Papa 5, let's see if it's in here. That's a good one. Okay, there it is. No, that's not it. Papa 5, North Korea. There it is. So what do you think my chances are right now? So there's North Korea. That looks like, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 17 meters and 20 meters would have been pretty good. Let's try something a little more realistic. How about Auckland, New Zealand? Okay, and I can zoom out on the map. And it looks like Auckland, New Zealand, actually, right now, would be pretty good on 15 meters. 88% chance of reaching Auckland, New Zealand right now on 15 meters. Now, we're looking at short path, okay? So those of you that have a Yagi can flip it around or a hex beam. There's a little button right here. Right now it says SP, which means it's looking at short path. If I click this little button, it's going to show me a long path. Notice what happened to the wheel. So it's a really handy little tool for going short path or long path as well. Really pretty neat. And by the way, once you have your antennas and your power and all that stuff set, if you click this round button right here, it will save it your browser. So when you bring it back up, you don't have to put your grid square in there again. So let's see. What else can I show you? I'm going to go back. I'm going to put this thing back on the East Coast. Oop. That's the easiest way to do it. We just go back to here. Albany. How about Albany, New York? So now let's say there's a contest coming up this weekend, Saturday. Saturday morning, what I do is I would pull this up. Excuse me a second. And without having to get back in here and look at this thing during the contest, what I could do is come down here to this band by band button, and it'll pop up. We're on the internet. This is a little bit slow because it's crunching a lot of data. I'm going to shrink this down, and I would print this on a piece of paper that I could kind of keep in front of me and take a look at. And what we have again, here's UTC across the top. Okay, bands along the left-hand column. So if I'm on plan, let's see, 10 o'clock in the morning. I think it starts at 10 o'clock in the morning, and that's 1800. Okay, so 1800 UTC. I can come over here to 1800 UTC, and I can see that 15 meters is going to be pretty darn good starting on the contest. If I wanted to try a different band like 10 meters, not so good. But there'll be people trying it, believe me. There'll be people on there. But anyway, I'm going to probably start on 15 meters, and then 20 meters is going to be hot as well. So those two bands are going to look really good. And as you can see, they're going to be really good for quite a long time. And then in the morning, start up, this is early in the morning. I can get on here and I can see that 40 meters is probably going to be good all morning long. Okay? So that's something to remember there. The other thing that's really pretty good is let me find it here. There it is, user manual. So he has a really good user manual, and it explains all the different controls on the main screen. It explains how to switch to gray lines. There's the gray line buttons I was talking about, and also how to save things and switch. It's actually, he does a really good job on that. Let me close that. All right. Get back here. Okay, so one more thing. So let's say another good use of this thing. Let's say you're worked all states. You want worked all states. And you need North Dakota. North Dakota, I think there's only 2 hams in North Dakota, right? So basically, if you want to work North Dakota and you want to know when there might be somebody on there, you can just zoom in on this map and pull over here to Bismarck, let's say. And then the wheel over here starts to look pretty good between my house and Bismarck, North Dakota, running 200 watts. How about if I ran 1,000 watts? It gets even better. How about, I'm sorry, what? Oh, QRP. Let's do that. 5 watts. It changed quite a bit, but look at 20 meters. 20 meters is still pretty good. Tomorrow morning, 20 meters would be good QRP, starting about, 9 o'clock. And then 40 meters comes in. Right about there. Let's see, where's 40? Okay, now 40 is not too good for 5 watts. I was going to look at sideband too. And I'm just going, ooh, sideband, not so good, huh? Sideband with 100 watts, pretty good. A lot better. All right, well, I'll open it up. I think I showed you everything I wanted to show you. I think the best thing to do is to actually get on and actually try it. That's the way to really do it. On the back of this presentation, I put in all of the links to the things that I'm talking about. So if you download this, you can even put the the conversion chart in there. So with that, I'm going to open it up to any questions, and then I can flip back if we want to look at something. I guess I did a pretty good job of explaining. I really encourage you to use the tool. I use it almost every day, and I tell you, last weekend I did the RTTY contest using this tool. I made 267 contacts in 15 hours without spinning my wheels, trying to transmit on bands that weren't open. So thank you very much.